Coors Light presents Call the Coach with Nick Rolovich, live from Ruby Tuesday in the Honolulu Shopping Center. Now, here's your host, Bobby Curran on ESPN 1420 and the Sideline Hawaii app.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ruby Tuesday in Honolulu, and welcome to Call the Coach with University of Hawaii head football coach Nick Rolovich. Bobby Curran's on assignment. He's in California getting ready for Hawaii and UCLA in men's basketball. I'm Josh Pacheco. Good to have you with us this evening. As always, you can connect with us if you're here on site. We'll take some of your questions while you're here. If you're listening in on ESPN 1420, you can text us. You can also call us at 296-1420. Coach, how are you?
Pretty good. That was a good road trip.
I know the last week you've been under the weather a little bit. You've been fighting through it.
Well, the middle of last week was rougher than usual, but that was such a good feeling after that game. Such a good feeling for our players. I told them don't worry about the bowl scenarios. There was a lot of things up in the air, and not one of them. We said that on Monday or Tuesday. Boom, they just went to work to beat San Diego State, and it wasn't as much to solidify bowls, or it was San Diego State's been kind of the bully on the west side of the conference, and it was our chance to see if we can stand up to them and put up a good fight.
It's easy to say sometimes, hey, guys, don't worry about the bowl. Let's just worry about football, right? But, we are talking about 17 to 21, 22, et cetera. We're talking about people of that age where you can tell them that, but in the age of social media, it almost seems like it would be impossible. But it does take the trust that you have
you can
in your
tell
team,
them,
right?
And they may have talked amongst themselves, but I think we have a nice relationship, a trust relationship, where I think there's other teams I've been on where somebody would, Coach, what's the real story, on the bowl? And our guys, nobody did that. I didn't hear one talk about bowl until after the game. Well, first they wanted to meet the AD from San Diego State, and I said,
so did they?
I said, no, I couldn't introduce them, but they were excited to shake his hand, I think.
You didn't print out that press clipping, did you?
Well, you don't have to print, that's waste of paper. This day we have a group thread, which it fit right on there electronically. No trees cut down. The message was sent.
I should know that from the electronically cultured Nick Rolovich on Twitter, right? What did you say to your team? Obviously, first win in San Diego State in 30 years. What did you say to your team after that emotional win?
It was hard to round them all up. What we talked about pregame was, shooting every shot we had, whether it was, I know this isn't going to be there's going to be somebody calling in mad at me, but we had an onside kick ready. We had, a couple plays that we wanted to make sure we got in. We didn't want to waste them and just keep them for the off season. And really what it was I think the second half of UNLV, you saw the physicality and I think there was an extra level of passion in our defense. And what we said was, and it wasn't just the Bolt thing the other week, right? It's Chevin, it's Cole, what's the quarterback situation? And I truly believed if we're going to win this football game, it was on the backs of the defense and stopping the run. And they enjoyed kind of that responsibility.
I did want to start with defense because everybody loves to start with offense, but, riding the backs of the defensive effort in the second half against UNLV, leading that into the start, that first half, and then some against San Diego State. Given all the talk that people have had prior to that had to impress you how they answered the bell really in the last couple of games when you really needed them.
Well, they know they hadn't been playing probably up to their potential or ability, and they don't want to give up that many points. They want to do great things for this university, and I think this is where you have the maturity of coaches like Banker, Ricky Longo, Batoon, guys who have been around a long time. I've seen a lot of situations and really, I think, stayed in their lane and kept pushing forward. There was no distractions coming in. And, they had to keep them up through that month of October where they're seeing some of the toughest offenses in the country and to keep their mind up and their mentality in a positive direction. I think they did a nice job with that.
Of course, one of the biggest tests that your defense had to face was that 2-point conversion at the very end of that game.
A couple of them.
Yeah. I'll focus on the last one, since there was no penalty there. What did you see on the sideline as your defense lined up going against that play?
Well, I thought it was a really good job by the referee. I didn't even know this rule because after the, they had 5 men in the backfield, and then they called the pass interference, or it was a holding, I'm not sure what they called, but it was offsetting penalties, but they couldn't move the ball to another spot of the field. It's not like you carry 5 2-point plays from the left hash, 5 from the right. You kind of have maybe 1 or 2 at each one. And I think when the first play they broke into an empty formation or an unbalanced formation, we called the timeout. I think that they're like, they showed their formation, they showed their hands. So then they went to the next call and moved the ball to the other hash. That's when the penalties, and then they were kind of stuck on that side. So they went to the fade. I thought maybe after the penalties, maybe they would have kicked one. Maybe kicked it and just said, hey, we'll just do it the next time. But I like Rocky's aggressiveness. I've been the victim of it, and it was nice to come in on the other end.
But that also says something about your defense, that you were prepared. Given, yes, they could have gone for the try, the 1-point try, just to try to cut your losses and move on. Your defense was not fazed by that, and they were ready for what was coming.
No, I think that's exactly right. Great observation, because they didn't flinch. Not when sometimes you get a 2-point play, right, or a touchdown in overtime, and here comes people running off the field, right, field goal block, blah, blah, blah. We were on it right away. I think the coaches up in the booth did a nice job seeing them go to their play sheet. The kicker's still on the bench. There was some anticipation they were going for 2, and we had our guys dialed in.
It is Call the Coach with Nick Rolovich here at Ruby Tuesday in Moanalua. You can text and call us at 296-1420. You can also, if you're here, send us your questions. We'll read them throughout the program. Let's talk about offense, particularly in the first half. And you look at the game numbers for Cole McDonald. 452 yards, 3 touchdowns, great numbers, and a really stellar first half, and a nice way to close the game, too, there in overtime. Talk about what you saw offensively, especially in the first half, mainly that second quarter, too, that you really liked, that gave you that good rhythm.
I thought we took a good amount of shots down the field, and our guys made plays, and Cole made some good throws. The protection was pretty good most of the night and gave him time to throw, but even when he didn't, he stood in there and made some throws. But I thought Marcus Armstrong-Brown made some of the biggest catches that he's made at critical times. He's a very dependable guy. He's grown more and more into that role. John wasn't as productive, not that it was his fault, but you saw an excellent game out of Cedric Bird. If you were able to break down the film and see him do things right, and see it working, I think it's going to give him and the receivers around him, especially the slots, a lot of validity to what we're teaching. And JoJo Ward, I think, is probably one of our biggest offseason pickups. Late, made a lot of plays, is getting better and better.
Well, you make the point on John Ursua. We won't call it an off night because it wasn't. But teams will key on him, and this game really showed, maybe more than most games in the year, the depth that you have at wide receiver, where, okay, if John Ursua is being, kind of silenced a little bit, Cole McDonald has that trust to go to that second, third receiver that he knows can make those big plays.
Well, I think it's the philosophy of the offense. It's not designed to be one player's offense. You can call a screen to him. You can call a few plays that you can anticipate him getting the ball, but for the most part, when you're in the serious drop back game, it really doesn't. There's not a direction where this ball is going to go. You try to call something that you're like, okay, hopefully we're right on the front side, and this is a good front side beater, and he can get the ball out quick. But if it's not there, it's a different coverage. He's got to go to the backside. And just saw some good execution by the receivers this week, especially because I think they've been playing pretty poorly towards the end of October. I think Stutz had a nice talk with him with Dre and got him dialed in. And this is, like I said, not only for Marcus, but seeing guys do the right thing more and more consistently, and then seeing the production rise.
Let's talk about quarterbacks for a little bit. Obviously, that was a big topic of conversation last week everywhere. It blew up. I mean, it came up here at Call the Coach a little bit too.
Right, and I could see last week. You're just going to keep digging at it, aren't you?
Well, actually, no. I don't necessarily want to focus
I just
particularly.
Let's go, Josh.
I know.
I know.
All right.
You know.
What did you say to your quarterbacks? Not one, but what did you say to all of them throughout that week? As all that noise is out there, everybody's talking. What did you tell them leading up?
I had a one-on-one with Cole. That was about the only one. I talked to them all in front of the team and the offense. I told them you all better be ready to play, and we'll make a decision that's best for the team at that time. Let's go. And this was more Monday, right? Let's have a great week of practice. If one of you can't hit a pass, you're not going to play. But let's get our game plan in and see who's going to execute it the best.
When did you make that decision?
Pre-game meal.
And they don't believe you. Someone said not. You guys, why would Nick Rolovich lie, guys?
I'm not a real good liar. I flip-flopped, and then because a lot of the things that happened Saturday morning, were had a little bit to do with our fate, and so we decided to start with Cole, and he played well.
And it ended up working out. How do you? I mean, obviously you talked to Cole a little bit.
Well, if Cole didn't play well, we would have gone with Chevin. Mm-hmm. Because it became clear and clear throughout that afternoon that winning that football game was going to have more to do with our bowl opportunity than it maybe would in a normal year. Let's say the 7-win football team.
But I think it also says, I think it's a credit to Cole as well, because with all of that noise, you can tell him, hey, block it out. You can talk to him individually. Social media is what it is, but he's a gamer, and he came out when maybe his back was against the wall.
I think it was good for Cole. I think it was good for. I know it was great for Chevin to play that well. I know it was great for all of us for Chevin to play that well, but I think it was good for Cole. Because I think he was able to take a step back, and Stutz said it. He's preparing like. Throughout the week, he kept mentioning he's preparing more like he did earlier in the season, and I think Cole said that also. At least in our one-on-ones, because I wanted to talk with him, and because I'd been through something similar, probably not to the same extent with the amount of social media and media access, but with me and Timmy, I said, I know. Listen, I walked into the training room after the Portland State loss, and I heard Lanai and Augie on the radio talking bad about me. So
what?
I still remember that, 2000. That's every time I see either Lanai or Augie, I say, oh, yeah, I remember you. But that's not easy for any kid to go through, and so you just want to be there for him and help him through it.
I want to get to the Hawaii Bowl conversation in a little bit, because we know how fun that's been over the last week, hasn't it? Mm-hmm. We'll get to that in a little bit, but I want to get some questions that people have sent in to us on site. Of course, if you're listening, you can text and call at 296-1420. This is from Lindsay, who writes, I say writes, she's here. Have you received any indication on John Ursua's future with the team for next year?
We've had a couple conversations. We'll get John's film evaluated and get them an idea of, get him an idea of where they view him in this year's draft, and I think he'll make a decision. I think he's prepared to do either one. I think at least that was his mindset today when I talked to him.
To follow up on that, though, I think it's really easy to say the stats are fantastic, one of the best in the country. We know all of that. But you see him on a more personal level day in and day out. Give people an idea of the work ethic that he's put to the table that has allowed him to have this kind of year.
Well, he loves the football field, and I think sometime in the middle of this season, I think he really kind of like Cole. You saw like Cole this last weekend. You saw him take it to another level in practice. You saw him inspire the receivers around him. You saw a greater concentration on the entire offense from John. I think John can even be better than he was this year. And the one thing about next year that, obviously we have his age, but the competition he will go against, especially early in next season's schedule, will be pretty good film. They don't really want to see, and Duquesne won a playoff game this weekend, but Duquesne's not the game they want to evaluate. They want to see, versus some of the tougher competition that you go against.
Let's get one more question here. This is from Craigslist, wherever Craigslist is here. It's more of a Total Request Live kind of question for you. Can you use the running backs more on screen plays and off tackle?
Okay.
That says it all, right?
Well, thought we tried to run I thought we called 3 screens to the running back. We threw the touchdown to Elijah Dale. Off tackle, I'm not sure. I guess that is in response to the direction of the plays. I think I know where this is going. The old dive complaint. Is that where we're at?
Gotta ask Craig about that one.
Craig, that's partly obviously how we block things, but we can look into that.
We got a lot more questions. There is the bowl conversation. We'll get to all of that as we go forward throughout the program. Again, you can text us and call us at 296-1420. We've got a lot more questions on site. We will come back here at Ruby Tuesday in Moanalua. It is Call the Coach, presented by Coors Light. They're on ESPN 1420.
Back to Call the Coach, brought to you in part by No Foods of Hawaii and the HGEA on ESPN 1420.
We welcome you back to Call the Coach here at Ruby Tuesday in Moanalua. It is presented by Coors Light with head coach Nick Rolovich. I'm Josh Pacheco. Good to have you with us tonight.
And I'm Chris Hart.
And Chris Hart is here as well. You can call us and text us at 296-1420. We'll take some questions here on site. This text came from Paul. This is very inspirational, Coach. Paul says, Coach, seriously, the game on Saturday against San Diego State was not only one of the greatest in Warrior football history, but it renewed my faith in life overall. Thanks for this to you and the team and staff.
Wow. Seems like it's pretty, seems like he's real about that.
He is. He absolutely is. That's one text we've had come in. There's several more we'll get through throughout the program.
Well, let's get back to Paul. Hey, Paul, we appreciate that you appreciate UH football that much, but there's a lot of good things in this world, brother.
That's just one of many there, Coach.
That's right.
We'll get to the bowl conversation in a moment, but this question comes from somebody here on site. Who is your Christmas suit tailor?
I purchased that online. It's amazing what the internet has these days.
For those, maybe the 5 people here that don't know, if you haven't seen what he wore on Sunday at the awards banquet, that was one of a kind, my friend.
And my twins have a suit the same. My oldest boy has a suit. My daughter has a dress. It's going to be a great Christmas photo this year.
I was about to go there. All right, let's talk about...
No, we're really doing that.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the bowl situation. Let's first reference the report that came out this morning in the Honolulu Star-Advertiser by Ferd Lewis. It said that your team will likely face Louisiana Tech in the Hawaii Bowl. An announcement expected sometime this week. I should note, by the way, there's a report in the Monroe News-Star that says it's not set in stone that Louisiana Tech will be the team. I'll ask you right out of the gate. Have you been given that invitation yet?
No.
But you expect it?
I expect it.
How has this bowl uncertainty, has it been something that's kind of gone around the team, or how have you handled that?
Well, remember when we went 2 years ago, it was we got in because there wasn't enough teams at 6 and 7. And then this year, when the guys hit 7 wins, they're like, okay, they don't want to go through that again. But I think it brings up a good – well, I didn't even know this happened, but that, when we become bowl eligible, we're not necessarily right back in the Hawaii Bowl. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to be a conflict for the conference, especially losing the Poinsettia Bowl. Now, because this bowl, they want a good game, they want all that, but this bowl was made for Hawaii. And maybe just people just got used to, okay, you get bowl eligible, we're going to that bowl game. But there was a little more. I walked out of UNLV saying, good, we got it, we're good. Whatever happens at San Diego State happens. But, we needed to win that football game, it looked like, at San Diego State to go to this bowl game.
Do you feel like this could have been handled better by the conference? I mean, you saw the comments from San Diego State's athletic director we referred to earlier. Could this have been handled better?
I don't know. That's hard for me to, without knowing everything. I know what he was trying to say with his comments. The AD, he probably wished he didn't say it, but what he was saying is his argument was going to be if we won. It just didn't come across that way.
Mm. With that said, it did seem like it put a little extra emphasis
it helped
on
us.
Saturday.
I appreciate it. He's going to get a Christmas card with a nice photo of all these Xmas suits.
Will it be a similar Christmas gift to what you give coaches at Mountain West Media Days?
No, this one just whatever stamps cost these days. That's what it's going to be.
What are we at? 45 cents now? Have we gone up on that? With that said, the importance of the bowl. Obviously, you're not just playing in the Hawaii Bowl. There's the 15 extra practices that come with it.
I was kind of upset about that because we have a young team and we have some guys that we want to get, continue to develop with. Whether it's even Kai Kaneshiro could use 15 more practices before spring, we're going to save his red shirt also. Jonah Laulu, a guy we were able to save his red shirt, played 3 games. He could play in this game for us. But 15 more practices to see if they can have a bigger role on defense. I thought it was very important to us. I thought it was important for the fans. I thought it was important for the bowl program, but for the health of our program, getting 15 practices in there, I think is huge.
Some who maybe don't follow.
And
as
I didn't
closely.
feel that way all the time until when I was assistant. I was like, we know what we're doing, but for the health of the program, for the trajectory you're on, you want to keep growing these kids. You don't need to beat them down, but you can keep learning. You can spend extra time with the young kids in a young guy individual drill where you can concentrate more and coach them with more detail. You could have, like another scout bowl with like a scrimmage where guys can get to. I mean, these guys on these scout teams give us so many great looks all year round, and they just want to play football. When they get out there and get a chance to play for real, you see guys pop off the screen. It's got like Koo. That's how kind of Koo shows up and gets help on special teams.
Our number 296-1420. You can text us and call us. It is Call the Coach here at Ruby Tuesday in Moanalua. And I'm glad you brought that up a little bit about how you spread that out because you have, 20 days between
29.
There you go.
Yeah, 29 to conduct 15 practices. But what's hard is, what if this bowl was December 15th, right? And they're not going to tell us till December 2nd. And these guys got to make plane flights home. There's some things that these student athletes are impacted this way. And, do you send everybody out recruiting with the uncertainty of the bowl? When do you practice? When are you allowed to start practicing? I think that's the part that they're going to have to look at to see if they can streamline this a little bit more, not wait for the CFP and then do the trickle-down effect.
And that seems like it's the talk because if UCF loses, then automatically the Mountain West champion would be the one that goes into the New Year's Six Bowl because you have to win a conference championship if you're a group of 5 team. Take me back to 2 years ago when you played in that Hawaii Bowl, when you got in there. How did you talked a little bit about what you do in those practices, but when did you start working on your next opponent? How long did you take on some of the individual stuff? How do you balance all of that in that time?
Well, you don't want to overdo it with the opponent, and you don't want to, how do you say it? You don't want to wait. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to wait too long, and you got to. And I talked to Coach Banker about this morning. I said, Bank, you got any thoughts? He's driving recruiting. He says, one word I would just focus on is the word fresh. Keep our guys fresh. Keep practices fresh. So not getting in kind of a rut. And I thought that was good advice. But you want to develop guys. You want to get the game plan ready. But first you got to know who your opponent is. So you can start breaking down the film.
And to be clear, we don't know who that is. Well, we know the likelihood, but we don't know for sure yet. And you don't know for sure yet.
Well, you don't know for sure yet.
That's very true. Let's get a couple calls in here at 296-1420.
I can't say anything more than that.
Apparently neither can I. And neither can the newspaper. Jason, thank you for holding on. You're on Call the Coach with Nick Rolovich.
Awesome. Hey, first of all, Coach, thank you so much, and great game to you and the boys this past week.
Thanks, Jason.
You guys definitely deserve it. I think I called last week and threw a bunch of stuff out there. I just want to get some things out, but you guys showed it. The Manoa Magic happened once again. You got the boys playing well. I think most importantly for everyone, long term, like you guys said, you got those extra 15 practices. And I know you would never say this, so I'm gonna say it for you. But 3.5 wins in Vegas, 8 wins, possibly 9 wins going into the bowl game. There's not too many coaches in the country that can say they performed to that level. So congratulations and thank you.
Thanks, Jason. You think back on this season, and particularly, right, you look at Wyoming, you look at San Jose, you look at UNLV and you look at San Diego, all could have gone either way. But I really think that the love that this team and the bond this team has created is what pulls teams through in that situation. And that was pretty evident with this team. Just coaching them, and I think it had a lot to do with how the assistant coaches came in and kind of rallied their group and got them going in one direction and, again, start deflecting the distractions and just focus on what we focus on.
Let's get one more call in. Sonny, we appreciate you holding on. You're on with Nick Rolovich. Good evening.
Hey, Coach, great game. Good game with San Diego. How did it help? How did it help you in your recruiting visits? Can you? I mean, you don't have to say who the people are, but how did it boost your recruiting?
Well, winning on ESPN I think helps, especially that time slot. People are either, the recruits have probably already played. They're watching TV. The one thing about football players is, if you really love the game of football, and those are the guys you want to recruit, you just can't get enough football. And it's the drill tapes on Twitter or YouTube. It's the play designs and the explanations. There's so much of that information out there. So I think when there's a chance for us to get on ESPN and perform well against a great team like San Diego State, I think it just uplifts our image, not only to recruits, but to the country. And it just starts bringing some respect back to this island and this university where I think it deserves to be.
And then, Coach, I noticed on the TV on the back of your helmets, was there a reason why they had you tape the spot on the back of the helmets? Thank you.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Sonny. I'm sorry.
Thank you for calling us, Sonny. We appreciate you listening in.
What was on our helmets?
It said some kind of a spot on the back of your helmet.
Anybody else see that?
It might have been his TV.
Right.
But keep the calls coming at 296-1420. We've got more questions to get to. We'll also get into, coming up, the awards. Not the suit jacket. We've done that already. But some of the awards that you were able to hand out on Sunday. What were some of the awards that you were most thrilled to give out? We'll do that and more coming up here at Ruby Tuesday in Moanalua. You are listening to Call the Coach, presented by Coors Light. You're on ESPN 1420.
You're listening to Call the Coach, presented by Coors Light on ESPN 1420 and the Sideline Hawaii app.
This show flies by in an hour, doesn't it, Coach?
It does, every week.
You're welcome back. It's Call the Coach, presented by Coors Light here at Ruby Tuesday in Moanalua. We'll get back to the phones here in a moment. We've been talking about the Hawaii Bowl. We've been talking about practices. This question comes in, and I'll kind of shorten this because it's really, really long. When does the first practice start for the Bowl?
We're going to go Saturday, this Saturday.
So you're not going to wait. Well, we might have the announcement by then, but it's not really about that.
Well, the NCAA, because of they allow you to practice, assuming you're going to a bowl game. So we're going to I wanted to get them some time off their bodies and get back in school. And Saturday, let the guys out recruiting too. We'll get back and have an official visit, practice. It'll be great. Great weekend.
Second part of this question, is there a day when the coaches and team get to meet and kind of go over the year? Does that happen now or does that happen after the bowl?
Each individual position group usually does that, and it's probably going to happen during the bowl season now because pretty quickly guys will leave for Christmas break. And coach, especially the seniors, you want to get and kind of round it up and wish them luck and see how you can help them. And here's what was great, here's what was bad. But I try to do that with every player. I'll try to do it in the next 3 weeks.
Let's take some calls here. Jeff has been hanging on very patiently. Welcome, Jeff, to Call the Coach with Nick Rolovich.
Hi, Coach Rolo. Just want to commend you for a wonderful season. I'm a 5-season ticket holder family. I bring my 4 kids. Next year, we're bringing our 5th child. I totally love everything that you're doing with your team. And win or lose, you're there to support Hawaii football. Wish you the best with this upcoming bowl game and for next season as well. Thank you, Coach Rolo.
Thank you.
Let's get one more here. Don, thank you for calling in. How are you?
Yeah, Coach, thanks for a fantastic win with your other coaches, your staff, your trainers, and, of course, the players that executed the win for us at San Diego State. My concern is you're losing 18 seniors. How's your recruiting process, especially recruiting from California and other parts of the mainland for our next replacement of our players that we lost for the season?
A replacement for who, Don?
Replacement players that for recruiting for our people that we're going to be losing this season from graduation?
Well, some of the bigger ones on defense, obviously Jelani's going to be a big one. Manu Rasmussen kind of quietly was a very dependable guy. Played his heart out. I thought Zeno Choi and he played he probably had a better year than people know as far as his assignments, how smart he is, his versatility throughout the line of scrimmage, how hard he plays. Zeno's going to be a big loss for us. So we're hoping some of the guys that we want to see Max Hendry get a little bit bigger, be able to kind of get physical like that. I spoke about him earlier, Jonah Laulu. We want to start developing him throughout these 15 practices. We're going to try to get JC help for that position. We really went heavy with defensive ends last year, especially some JC guys, and you're starting to see Derek Thomas really come along. The secondary is where we got to get some more, just the amount of players. We don't have, I believe we went through the season with 3 or 4 corners at the most, healthy corners. And so Rowe and Zach and Manu went over there, and Eugene. They get a lot of reps. And I think we were short on corners throughout this year, and we stayed just healthy enough for our guys to be able to play.
Thanks a lot. Keep up the good work, Coach.
Thank you.
Aloha.
I'd like to
get a young crop of receivers that we can kind of grow. If we can get a difference maker at receiver, we'll look into that. But getting a nice young group to learn, because you're bringing JoJo back. Hopefully John can make it back. Cedric Bird's coming back. We've got a commit that we feel very, very happy about. You're going to see more of Moku Noah next year. So getting a group to under them, that can maybe have again, you got the 4-game redshirt rule. Can you get them in some games and start letting them get comfortable to run and shoot and getting behind some of these guys who are executing that at a pretty good level?
Let's take a question here from the crowd. And I apologize to Mel.
Linemen.
Oh, yeah.
Linemen, we're going to go young, too.
Okay.
Unless again, there's maybe a JC tackle. We would talk about that, but most of our linemen are going to be young.
And to that point, your offensive line has been young this year, but the experience that your offensive line gained this year has been invaluable.
Well, I think they should be proud of themselves. They came together with 2 brand new faces and personalities, and Cole Laval's a big personality. So you got to mix all that in. Tonga played a lot of games for us. Joy Nuanu has played a bunch of snaps the last 2 games. Micah Banterpool has also gotten a little bit of run. So, and that's on top of Ilman Solo playing every game as true freshmen through a 13-week season. And that, we talk about the bye week being in week 11, or 12 or whatever it was, but you really started to see the wear and tear on those younger bodies, like Ilm. I remember on one Monday he told Coach Webb, "Hey, Coach, I'm still a little beat up. I don't know. You might need a little more time on this one." But, at this point, now you've got 2 true freshmen that have played all year for you, so it's going to be a good foundation to build off of.
I apologize to Mel here. He sent me 3 different questions on one little note here. I'm going to just choose one because I need to get things rolling. This question, he mentions at San Diego State, it appears that Cole was more effective when he made quicker decisions. Was that what you saw?
Well, I think every quarterback is in that situation. When you're making quicker decisions, you're making confident decisions, the ball's out of your hand, the O-line's playing better because they feel like they're protecting their butts off. And it's getting the ball into the guys' hands who we want the ball in, mainly our receivers who we feel like can make a lot of plays. But I thought the timing of his throws and the flow of the offense didn't seem as jagged as it had the last maybe month.
Let's get Mike in at 296-1420. Mike, thank you for holding on. You're on with Nick Rolovich.
Hello, Coach. Hey, Coach, you know what? This season has been a season filled with highs and lows, ups and downs. I had a couple of heart attacks almost, but you folks pulled it off, and I tell you, I'm one happy guy, and I'm so happy we're going bowling. I'm just wondering, of all the teams out there, who would you like to play against?
I'd like to play against Louisiana Tech. Yeah.
I was thinking, since Marshall always says, we are Marshall, why don't we just beat them and say, we are Hawaii?
We say that anyway. But, I think there's some, the old WAC days, and, we were talking about it today. If we played them, that trip for both sides is such an incredible trip to be in the same conference with. Sorry, Mike.
Watching all you guys. I go way back, but you know what? It's great. I can smile. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there at the bowl game, and I hope to shake your hand in person, brother.
And that's what our players. You talking about you smiling, Mike, and our guys have really bought in to not really putting a price, but they value making our fans proud of their play and proud of Hawaii. And I think that has a lot to do with the feeling around here right now. And our guys like making people happy by the way they play. They like helping kids. We got kids coming tomorrow to campus, and I just send a message out, hey, anybody around want to say hello to some kids? Boom, boom, boom. I've got about 12 guys already want to come because they understand it's bigger than them. And I think that's important. I think that's a real good quality to throw these young men out in the world with.
Mike, thank you for calling in. We appreciate you listening.
I'll tell you a story about La Tech. Want to tell you a story about La Tech?
Sure.
I don't want to bore anybody. Okay, but this is back during the MAC era. I had a friend coaching at Eastern Carolina. And one of their GA's interns I had met at one of the conventions in 08 or 09. And I played with his boss, so we were friends, and I met him. His name was Joe. So every year, maybe twice a year, I'd get a postcard. And that's one good thing about the coaching fraternity is people write cards, hey, good luck. And so I'd get one, hey, Coach, nice to meet you at the convention, Joe Sloan. Okay, bam. Next 6 months, get another one. Coach, can't wait to see you. Good luck in the season, Joe Sloan. Boom. This goes on for 2 years. Okay. Then I get to the convention and I see him again, and I go, "Hey, Joe Sloan," and he goes, "He didn't know my name. He was writing those letters to everybody in the country." But I talked to him today. We laughed about it a lot. I told him I was going to tell that story. So.
And as always, Coach Rollo is true to his word. This is the best question I've gotten so far during the show. Coach, what was your first impression on the new Lion King movie trailer?
I mean, really accurate. It would be much easier to do it the other way around, right? Draw the cartoon off the live stuff, but looks to be a blockbuster.
Of course, you're going to show that to the team as soon as it comes out, right?
No, Yeah, I am.
With that said, just to backtrack a little bit, how much do you miss the old WAC days?
Well, those were great days, I think, for everyone, but this conference is incredible right now. Who do you want to play? And I said again, San Jose is taking people down to the wire. This is a really fun conference to be in as far as the type of athletes, the amount of athletes, and the diversity in coaching, and I'm not talking about race. I'm talking about triple option to power football to run and shoot to air raid. And defensively, with going from, you got odd fronts, you got even fronts, you got a lot of good coaching, and I think it's a real important league to this part, not necessarily this part, but especially the West Coast of the mainland, because you either have Pac-12 and then the Mountain West has got to fill that next void. It's not like other parts in the East or the South where they have all types of conferences. It's just those two. So I think it is an important league for college football on the West Coast.
We've got some more work to do, and we'll do it when we come back here at Ruby Tuesday in Moanalua. You are listening to Call the Coach, presented by Coors Light, right here on ESPN 1420.
Back to Call the Coach, brought to you in part by No Foods of Hawaii and the HGEA on ESPN 1420.
Welcome back, everybody, to Ruby Tuesday in Moanalua. To continue on with Call the Coach with Nick Rolovich, it's presented
by Coors Light. We'll do the Live Aloha Bucks coming up in just a couple of minutes. On Sunday, you had a busy Sunday. You came right off the plane, right from the airport. You had the TV show to tape, and then you had the awards ceremony, a number of awards, and I can't get to all of them. But the one that I was meaning to ask you, which award that you handed out on Sunday was your most favorite award to hand out?
The most unselfish Warrior Award. I think, and Dakota Torres really exemplifies what kind of, I mean, the guy's a tight end. We go to the run and shoot. He's confused. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what the plan is. He comes up like a big boy and says, "Hey, Coach, what do you think? How can I help the team?" is what he said. And we talked about O-line. We talked about defense. We talked about wide receiver. And I said, why don't, I don't know if it was me or him, but we came to the conclusion, let's start at wide receiver. And let's see what you can be at that position, the slot. And it was the most comfortable for him. But this is a guy in the middle of the season. John and Bird are putting up big numbers. He's not getting the same amount of reps. So when I think Jelani goes down, we have option coming and he goes over to play defense for a couple weeks, and then he comes back to offense, and he was always a consistent factor on special teams. He's a wonderful person for this community. He's going to be such a positive impact on this state that, giving that one out, that's an award. He's going to be successful in life no matter what he's doing.
Some of the other awards, John Ursua was named the MVP, Cole McDonald, your Offensive Player of the Year, Jelani Tavai on defense, Paul Scott, your freshman in special teams. What about Kaimana Padello, your most inspirational player this year?
He's guy who probably shouldn't be doing what he's doing if you looked at his body. But the guy's got the heart as big as anybody on the team. He loves Hawaii football, and I think it's not just he loves football. He loves Hawaii football. He loves representing this state, and that is what I think not only inspired the rest of the guys, but it's a real clear picture for the new guys, and he's not shy about it. He loves being a Warrior. They get in line pretty quickly because they know he's doing stuff with his body, and because of his passion, his heart, of who he's playing for, why he's playing the football game, it really brings guys who, oh, poor me, they just have to look at Kaimana and they say, okay, I can handle this.
Let's get to some texts. Gen texts in. He says, Coach, was there any true freshmen this season that you had no choice but to burn their red shirt here?
No. I don't. The three closest are Kai, Jonah, and Shevin. Kamuela Borden used his, mostly on special teams, but really, when he came back off his mission, he really wanted to be able to get on the field with his brother before he left. So that was kind of decided before then. But I don't think we burned one that we weren't really planning on it, or he was probably the closest one.
Katz texts in and says, Coach, you made me a believer again. During the Colt Brennan years, there were times we learned to believe. I forgot that over the years, and back then I said it ain't done till it's done as long as we have the ball all 60 minutes. Katz says, football is luck, it's discipline, it's skill and execution, but more importantly, it's faith and belief. This game restores my belief in the Warriors till the end. If you're a true Warrior fan, believe. And Katz says 49 seasons. That's a lifelong fan.
Wow, good text, sir.
And that's certainly, I'm sure you've heard a lot of that over the last couple of weeks, haven't you?
Well, I mean, that's pretty well said. I mean, that seems like it's pretty honest and it's I don't know. Even Paul's text and that text, those are the reasons why you do this thing, Those are the reasons why you do this job in Hawaii, is for things like that and how much you can influence somebody's day.
All right, we've got just about a minute or so left, so let's do our Live Aloha Buck, shall we, Coach?
Sure.
We've had some great stories all year long. Coach is going to reach in, and let's see who's going to – we're not only going to make their day, but they're going to make someone else's day, I'm very sure.
That's
Who do we got there? Easel or Easy? If only there was a dot right there, then I could tell. Last name Wills. How's about that? Right there.
Winner.
Right there. All right. Congratulations.
We got our winner of Live Aloha Bucks.
Yep.
Can't wait to find out next time we do Call the Coach what you do with the Live Aloha Bucks. So make sure to tell us your story at some point, all right?
Congratulations.
All right. We don't know when we're going to do this again. Obviously, the bowl game's coming up, so we might have this again.
Yeah, I'll come back next week if you guys want to come back. Hey, I tell you what, this crowd all year long has been so wonderful. I appreciate seeing you guys every Tuesdays. I've enjoyed getting to know everybody even better. So thank you for Ruby Tuesdays and your guys' support.
Feeling is mutual from everybody here. Want to say thank you to Keegan Ota. A thank you to Cy, the local guy, Chris Hart, Aaron Custodio, who's helped out a lot. And thank you to you, by the way, all of you for coming. You guys have been great this evening. Thanks for packing the place. For Bobby Curran, who's on assignment, for head coach Nick Rolovich, I'm Josh Pashenko. We will see you at the Hawaii Bowl, and we might be seeing you again here very soon. This has been Call the Coach, presented by Coors Light, here on ESPN 1420. So long, everybody.